All right. Hi, everybody. Decided to do a special edition given all the Washington Commanders talk. So, welcome to Rick Snider's Washington on YouTube, where you get the whole story. So, please like, share, subscribe, comment, even hit the thanks button. And I'm in the new house, but I haven't set up my new studio. Been kind of crazy this week if you're watching. And that's why I've tried to just keep up best I can. But when you move after 35 years, lots of work to do. So, but, with all the crazy news that's going on, I thought, hey, why not talk? It's the first time I haven't been involved in a house in about 4 days, but I did 100,000 steps in 5 days. So that's how crazy it is. Never even done 100,000 steps in a week. So I'm glad. All right, a bunch of you are coming on board. Thanks. I know it was short notice, but I just kind of like, yeah, okay, we can do this. Just did my podcast, Seasons of Discontent. And that is also going to be up in a few minutes where I talk with Matt and all the things going on. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming. So, Washington Commanders owner Dan Snider basically has put the team up for sale without saying exactly that. So, what else is he doing? He can't sell a minority share. I've said at this point, Snyder's really painted himself in a corner. He can't tease you guys like this and expect anybody to care anymore if that happens. If he doesn't sell his team, you're going to say blank this and never watch it again. And they'd know this. Do I have a man cave to Joe? Dojo Kodo. Okay, I hope I got it right. I got a 3,000 square foot basement, but it's unfinished. So eventually I'll have maybe a dance hall down there or something. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Got a big place, 3 acres, 6,000 square feet kind of thing. How does an old sports writer do it? Invest in the market the last few years. When Wall Street got busy, got rich, so did I on that. And I spent it all in this house. So, and it's the house I can retire till my end days. Well, let me just say this. I was planning to retire at the end of this season because, covering this team, it's just been one drama after another. But found my bell too, by the way. But with the new owner coming and all the new stuff, and I think now the gateway back to RFK could happen. I ain't going anywhere. I'm staying for it. Finally, some good stuff to do after all these years. So why would I want to go now? So as long as my health holds, I'm going to just hang in there and keep going for a while. Yeah, I know the lighting's terrible here. This isn't my den. It's just a makeshift by the router. I haven't even got a chance to set up my den yet, but it'll look better coming up. Thanks, Russian Old Spice. Skin Me Alive says, Rick, is selling the Commanders thing a good thing? How could it not be? Yes, finally done with this stuff. Finally can move ahead, do some positive things with this franchise. Quit being every day is a drama fest, So, all right, obey the Lord, everyone. Says if Taylor doesn't win one of the next 2 games, I believe Wentz could come back and play. I'm not sure Wentz's timetable yet on when he can come back. That might still be a little early. We'll see. I think with the team sale pending now, a little more urgency to Rivera and staff because a new guy coming in could say 3 straight losing years. I think we'll try somebody new. Here's your rest of your contract money. God bless. Goodbye. Don't think that can't happen. It happens all the time with things. I had a friend sell their company to a big company who promised that everybody working there had their jobs. As soon as they left the closing table, that new company owner went to that company and fired everyone. All right. And it happened with the Redskins when Dan Snyder took over. He fired everybody, almost immediately. We didn't have a PR staff at the training camp 2 days later because he fired everybody. That's how crazy that is. So you never know what can happen. So I think Rivera's on a shorter leash now. And, hey, he may take his money and go retire, but I think that it will impact some in these remaining games on there. They need to have a decent finish, and they could. They played very well. Last 3 weeks have done a lot better. So how are they going to do against Minnesota? Not sure. But I'm not expecting that one. In the week ahead at Philly on Monday night, that's not good. But they can still get a path to the playoffs if it works out. Brian Harding, first time here. Great, man. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad. Elon just canned all the execs at Twitter. Okay. Twitter's been acting funny in the morning, too. I've been having trouble uploading my videos in the morning. I don't know if it's my new connection or if it's them. I don't know. Weird. Dizzy Spider 45 says, "Do I think John Gruden is the head coach of the new Washington Red Hogs?" No, no, no. I don't see that. But maybe Sean Payton. Maybe. Let's see. James Turner. Good evening to you too. What would you say is my top 3 picks for new owner? Okay. Bezos is everybody's clubhouse favorite. I mean, that's an obvious one. And teaming with Jay-Z helps and open some doors too. They can't get outbid on there, but I'm not sure I really want Bezos as the owner of this team because he's going to worry about the marketing and all these other things. We already got a guy like that. I want somebody who cares about football, and I know Leonis is his name. I admire Leonis very much. I think he's going to go to the Nats. He also is worried about sports betting and all this other kind of stuff. His Wizards ownership has been awful. I mean, the Caps have been good, but that's partly Ovi. So I'm not, but certainly he'll be in there. But Byron Allen, who started the Weather Channel and done a lot of amazing things and is a billionaire, is from Washington area. I would kind of like to see him. Then they could rename the team maybe the Storm. Storm. They weathered the storm and beats people. Who knows? And the new name. Can there be a new name of this team? Why not? You already changed it. Did 3 names in like 5 years? Sure. Let's do another one. And I did a poll on my Rick Snider's Washington. 80% of you want a new name. You don't like Commanders. So I think that's in play. And I think RFK is going to be back in play now all of a sudden. They don't admit it yet, but the DC Council's dragged its feet for a long time hoping for this team to come back. And if it's not an owner named Snider, if it's somebody big like Bezos who can create an area for so many things, that's where you make a difference there on there. See, Alex says, I hope Wentz is done for the season. Oh, you're bad. Whatever. He's not as bad as you say. Scott Lowe says, hi. Thanks, Scott. Skip me alive. Ron never makes moves for the better team for the run. Like Minnesota got a tight end they didn't. Yeah. I mean, they traded William Jackson. We haven't talked about that. That was a good move just to cut ties. It wasn't working. They got rid of a big contract. A 2025 draft pick, move up 1 round for this. Why don't you just call it a bag of balls? I mean, that's crazy. Dizzy doesn't want Leonis. I mean, I like Leonis. He's the smartest guy in the room. He is the smartest guy in the room. But a lot on his plate. Brian's leery of Bezos, too much clout in the NFL. Well, but if he's your owner, that's not a bad thing. No new names, says a Baylor Lord. I'm going broke from jerseys. Yeah, that's why you don't buy jerseys. Like that. James, I think Bezos is a smart choice. He's got a place in Colorado. Yeah, I do walking tours. We go right by his house. He bought a museum, 23,000 square feet. It was called a textile museum. Like people go see textiles. But they did. But his house is in between the former homes of Woodrow Wilson and Herbert Hoover. 3 in a row. When I do an Embassy Road tour occasionally, we do that. We stand right in front of one of the richest guys in the world. It's really amazing. And one day there was an Amazon box on his doorstep. So we had a good laugh over that. Let's see. Brenny and Ronan, would you rather pay pain or sweat? That's a good question. I mean, pain. I'll say pain. But sweat will go somewhere else and do great, and we'll all hate it. Skin me alive. We need an owner like Jerry Jones, involved in every way. Yeah, as long as they know what they're doing. I mean, Jerry Jones, for all we say, did play college football. He knew something about it. Dan watched college football on there. Isaac says Dan saw the team. Could be interesting Sunday at the game to see what the crowd chanting and the noise. It's Minnesota, so there's going to be a lot of Vikings fans there, and they yell "Skol" and all this stuff. They haven't been there in a few years. This is Kirk Cousins' return. Nobody's talking about that yet either. Dizzy, will a certain amount of the sale be held in probate to settle all of Dan's lawsuits? Well, I have no idea. I kind of doubt it. Unless there's a judgment against him somehow and the court does it that way. But that's a long ways from here. Paul says, new name, new owner, new coaches, new stadium. Well, there you go. I want to call the stadium, the Amazon and play Welcome to the Jungle when we run out of the tunnel. And I thought of that like a year ago. Somebody else was claiming they'd had it. Okay. All right. By the way, since I'm doing a special night, if you can hit that thanks button, especially the new ones here, That's a way of throwing a tip jar. I just bought this big house, so I did have to take a loan on it, something. But if you can hit the thanks button, I appreciate it. Or if you want to buy, nobody's buying the Commanders book because they hate the name, I guess. But 100 Things Commanders Know and Do Before They Die is at my website, monumentalthoughts.com. You can do that too. I'll sign it for you. Amazon field at RFK. I'm okay with that. Dizzy said. I mean, RFK doesn't have any political backing, but that's because of Snider. People just didn't want to do business. But now you get somebody like Bezos who can not just build a stadium, maybe he builds other stuff. And that's how you buy your way past the critics. Dizzy bought 2 copies. Thanks, Dizzy. I don't remember doing Dizzy Spider. He must have a real name, too. Hey, Michael's here. Okay, Michael watches my back. Thank you. Because whenever crazy people want to write stuff, Michael gets you. So thanks, Mike. I didn't tell Michael I was coming on, so I didn't know he'd be here. Obey the Lord, everyone. I'd relocate the team. I'm going to cry. I just started going to games. They're not going to relocate the team. What the NFL is planning, maybe 2025, is to create that NFL Europe division with 4 or 5 teams, including 2 in London. I kind of wondered if Snider would get one of those in return for giving up this one, but don't think so now. He'll be out of the game. And the NFL doesn't want him. They just didn't. They're tired of the drama too. But if you bring those teams there, I don't know. The NFL's going to have to really rework some things to do that. Okay. Skim Me Alive. Looking back to great coaches like Gibbs and organization, what do you think the formula is for building a Super Bowl team? Draft. The draft is everything. I don't care. The free agency is supposed to supplemental the draft. Because you can't keep paying all the big guys. We've seen that here under Snider. It doesn't work. So you've got to have good, solid drafts. And they did. The foundation for the Redskins' success in the 80s really came in the draft. Even if Beathard had traded so many first-round picks, there were years he hit really well. And Jacoby wasn't even a draft pick. He was a free agent. So personnel like that is so important. Sean, Washington fans haven't had a good week like this in a long time. Man, and he says moving did this. So, trust me, the last thing I wanted this week in the middle of a move was to have this story go, because I had no free time. And this is the first time in 3 days I even have come online. And I haven't even watched TV in 3 days. That's like a record for me being healthy. That's how bad it is. All right, obey the Lord. Who do you think's the best Washington draft pick since Trent Williams? Terry McLaurin. He showed that the other day. What a great catch. 50-50 ball. He could have lost that, but he got it away from the guy and won the game. Scott, if a new owner and Rivera's gone, who do you like to be the coach in the new era? Sean Payton. That'd be my first guess. And I think it might be a good one. I think he'd be a good coach. There's no doubt. I think there's a real chance of something like that. He'd never come work for Dan. Even though I've heard coaches say that, I want to work for Dan Snyder. And then a week later, Marty Schottenheimer is here and say, oh, I changed my mind. Yeah, because he went 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, that kind of thing. Dizzy, do you think, let's see. I don't know if I want to touch that question. It take more thought than I have in my head at this time. Ooh, there's quite a few of you. I guess everybody heard about it. Great. On there. I do write on 1067 The Fan, Odyssey.com today. I have a column up about the ownership situation and possible ones to do it and why I think Dan has no choice now. And, hey, he's got, another investigation's been launched by the feds. So that's 6 investigations. And that the House subcommittee one, from what I gather, people have seen the results. And I have a feeling it drops before Tuesday's midterm elections. And there could be some real bitey stuff there. But Dan sells and goes away. All those kind of troubles go away too. So I think that played a lot into this also. I think Tanya being booed on the Jumbotron was not a good look that she didn't appreciate. But, your name is Snider with a Y, not an I. You booed my wife, I'm going to come get you. But they were I think that played something in. I think there's a bunch of different things that created this. So for a guy who said he would never ever change the team name, never ever going to sell, leave it to my kids, here we are now. And if this doesn't happen, I just think all of you are going to go away, and I'm going to start a channel on the ballet or something, because no one's going to care if Dan reneges and doesn't pull this off. What's the price going to be? My guess is about $7 billion, because there's several heavy hitters. You can't bluff. You can't back away. Amazon money from this. I think it could go to 7. What do they care? And Dan doesn't take all 7 million with him. He's got cost. Maybe 5 of that would be his. It's good deal. Go buy a European soccer team. Let's see. You bet there. Fight for ODC thinks there's a big story dropping on Sunday. Wouldn't surprise me. It's all kind of coming, It's all coming to a head. What's Dan being investigated for? The feds are looking at money situations. And I think that goes back to how they shared their money with the NFL. And maybe there was allegations of 2 sets of books. So, with taxes paid on it, that kind of stuff. I don't know. The story's out there. I haven't had a chance to really do it there. Robert thinks it'd go for $8 billion. Well, yeah. How about 9? Look at it this way. When they were going to sell it after Cook died, the price was $250 million. That's what they expected. It went for 800. So, you never know. Honest Brute jumps ahead, threw a tip in there. Thank you, Honest Brute. If there's an official parade, how would that happen? I don't think there'll be an official parade, man. I know people talk about it, but I don't think so. But if they did, the city government has to approve the permits. I don't think they do that. Now, if they cut a deal for an RFK site, city could put together a parade for that. How long to develop the RFK site, asked Dizzy? Oh, probably. You got to do some negotiations. I don't know that they might make 2027 there. Paul wants to know, I'm going to spend the weekend at Colonial Beach. Nah, man, I'm too busy working. Too busy on this house and got a Sunday game, but I'll get there. Colonial Beach in Virginia, for those of you who've not been there, awesome little town that I hear might be having casinos come, and that will change that awesome little town, but it's free beach. Now it's getting a little cold now, but it's a nice place, some good restaurants, the people are cool, and it's not that far away, really. Colonial Beach. If you go through Southern Maryland over our brand new 301 bridge that opened a couple weeks ago, it's like 15 minutes from there, just on the Virginia side of the water. Okay, let's see. Oh, Michael got somebody. Good. We have the worst stadium. Yeah, because Oakland's no longer there, so maybe I have to think about that. Definitely be down the bottom, and one of the older ones too. On that point, David says, I think the NFL would have checks and balances. The teams just can't make up attendance numbers. Well, you can make, what do they say? Figures don't lie, but liars can figure. I'm the guy that's always writing about what I think attendance is. I think in the last year or so, they have really had more or less the right number. Now, they have to pay taxes on tickets. So you can announce 60,000, but if there's only 40,000 there, that's what they're paying ticket taxes on. But they just don't tell anybody. You have to find the annual report to figure that out. Not easy because they're private companies, so they don't have to be as transparent. Let's see. David says, okay, got that. Obey the Lord. Are we going to talk about how them Eagles are losing? Well, they're not losing yet. They're doing pretty well, obey the Lord. I guess they're listening to God. David, hi back. A lot of has changed since we saw 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And the William Jackson trade. So somebody did want them. Yeah. I mean, they didn't pay much. They went up 1 round 3 years from now. Like I said, that's a bag of balls trade. But whatever. Everybody's happy. Do I think it's weird that Dan all of a sudden says he's interested in selling the team? Asked Fight for ODC. Yeah, I just think there's a perfect storm of so many different things conspiring that finally he just said, screw it, man. He doesn't live in the same world we do. He's not talking to people like, outsiders. Dan's an introvert. He doesn't talk to people outside of his circle much. And he doesn't like to have conversations he doesn't get to control. So I don't know that he was feeling the hate that everybody thinks he does. They're pretty isolated on that. But I think things like Boo and Tanya and stuff like that, yeah. All right, Dizzy. Will I do an extra special edition of the book? No. And delete Snider error from it? No. I don't have anything to do with that. That's the publisher. You can still order 10 autographed copies, but we can't do that. I don't control this one. This is Triumph Publishing who does that. Fight for ODC. Do you think it's weird how Dan? Okay, I'm sorry, I got that one. All right, Sean. Would I prefer revitalizing RFK site or a destination further out with hotels and such? I think you could go across the river in the southeast, which is my native land and where I was born, and maybe do something there, although there's federal land again that's involved because the federal government owns 1/4 of DC, basically. So it's always running into federal land. But I think that could happen too. That's where Leon just built his other small arena over there. Lots going on over there. So I think it's possible. Is Dan Snider the next Howard Hughes, says Scott? I don't know if he's that extreme. Howard Hughes, I did some research on him once. Fascinating guy. He changed aviation, he changed movies in America, but at the end of his life, he was such a recluse. He once spent 4 months in the same room watching movies at a house he had in Vegas. Didn't leave the room. I guess he had a restroom there, but they bring his meals in. He ate the same thing every day. Howard Hughes was an odd duck, but man, he made some big changes in aviation and automobiles and Las Vegas. He helped start that as to what we know of today. He was quite a fascinating guy. Who do I think will win the NFC East? Asked Kevin. Philly. I said that before the season. And they're definitely going hard. They've made some really good choices in the offseason for personnel. I don't think the Giants are as good as their record shows right now. And I don't think Dallas is quite that good. I could see Philly finishing with like 13, 14 wins. Dallas 11 or 12. The Giants maybe around 10. And Washington, I don't know. So, first round pick, what position? Asked Honest Brute. Well, boy, that's if you had your druthers, and we're not talking quarterback for once. We put that aside. Offensive line, probably, or corner. We'll see what's there. That's hard to say. Dizzy, do I think the sales will bar Snider from all future home games? No. Okay, so Michael, go get Mr. Bergley, who's writing nonsense. Oh, there he is. He's been hidden now by Michael. Nah. Oh, here he comes again. Mr. Bergley. He's a bad boy. Oh, well. He's not going to hit the thanks button. I'm sure of that. All right. Certified Yam Inspector. Oh, yeah. If Bezos doesn't buy the team, what do you think about Byron Allen? Yes, I think Byron Allen would probably be my personal choice. I think he fits better than anything else. Mr. Bergley's getting hidden by Michael again. Some people are just morons. Mr. Bergley's one of them. That writes nonsense. What are we doing here? So, all right. You guys can't see it, I guess. That's how I hear it's hidden. I can see it, but you can't. Okay. Multiple accounts, says Michael. Whatever. I'm glad he's so interested in me and our big audience here. Actually, there's quite a few of you here. For me spotting you at the last second, I appreciate you all coming. Would the new owners invite John Kent Cook into the ownership group for sentimental reasons? Asked Dizzy. No, and nor does John want to. John's gone on with his life. He had a chance to get this team. He declined, and he lost a lot of money not buying the team when he did and making it up. Yeah, some clowns doing stuff. All right, let's see. People have been bringing up Jay-Z to join Bezos. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about this, Spencer. Because, I've heard of Jay-Z, but I don't know his story a lot. So my friend Matt was telling me about all the stuff that Jay-Z did. And I think he'd be a great recruiting tool, too. What players? They say athletes want to be entertainers and entertainers want to be athletes. So, I guess I don't know how I would work with the salary cap for incentives and all, but maybe some player wants to be part of Jay-Z's music empire too, and you come here, we'll hook you up. There's probably a salary cap thing about that. Do I really? I really don't think the Commanders will gain a wild card. Asked Joseph. Undecided on there. I think it'd be close. They could win 7, 8 games and maybe better. We'll see. They're getting better. I mean, Taylor did a great job last week stealing a win. So, oh, Jay Z's a self-confessed Cowboys fan. Ooh, that ain't good. Somebody's saying here. Yeah, they can't. Well, that's interesting. Well, a lot of players growing up in Texas that play for Washington were Cowboys fans growing up. But when you got a job, you switch alliances, and they told their family to switch alliances. If I looked at any of the draft prospects incoming, asked Sean. No, I have not. I got enough to do. I'm glad I'm finally moved. At least a lot of that's gone. As soon as I put everything away, I'm going to be cool again on this. Can you guys see what this guy's doing, Mr. Burgley, or is he hidden from you? Hopefully he's hidden from you. He's a pain in the butt. All right, Between the Uprights by Sean. All right. I'm liking more and more Byron Allen. Seems like he'd be behind the scenes good owner. Listen, the NFL went to Byron Allen and said, we want you to bid for Denver. We want to see. Now, Walmart money beat him, but the NFL will approve him. Do I think Heineke over Wentz when they come back? Depends on how it's going. CJ Stroud, a franchise quarterback? No, I don't think so, Obey. Rufio. Let's see. Oh, okay. You can see him. Okay. All right. I thought they could get blocked or something hidden. It's a bot, whatever that is. Well, I know what a bot is, but I don't know how it works. I'm just an end user. I don't know how to do code or anything. I'm glad to see Mr. Burgley's like, I don't know, interested in us, I guess. Okay. It's a Cowboys robot, says Rufio. There you go. Or it could be one of Dan's henchmen messing with me. Don't think that doesn't happen. Do we need a Super Bowl dome in DC? Yes. Get a dome. I'm sure it will be a dome. It's interesting. All the work they put into a stadium thought. If they sell his team, the new guy gets to do all that and all that pitch and throw that in the trash. But you definitely would want a dome. Between the Uprights says, yeah, being harassed by bots shows I'm good. It's Jason Wright. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Jason would do that. He's a good guy. People are too hard on Jason Wright. He's a good guy. Kevin Thornton, why didn't Ron get someone during free agency since he got rid of Jackson? Well, because St. Juice is playing well, so I don't think they had to worry about that. So somebody's been drinking Crown Royal again. Yeah, that's serious, man. I had to give that up as a young man on all that. I don't drink as much. I'm drinking Diet Pepsi because my wife finally got something in this house for us to drink. Moving, we didn't have anything food in here. Do I think people will buy into another name change? Yes, Zach. Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to like whichever one it is, but Sean asked about the '96 team started 7-1 and missed the playoffs. Yeah, they went 2-6 after that. Then there was a year they were 0-7 and they went 6-3 after the bye. So they blocked at least 9 accounts of Mr. Burgley. So he's relentless. Tedious would be more of it. Let's see. I'm stuck on the Sprite. Okay. Still don't agree with the Jackson loss. Well, they weren't playing him right. It wasn't a good fit for Jackson. That's a little on both sides. But move on. People will want to do the name change if you keep the colors. I don't know. If you change the name again, does it still have to be the burgundy and gold? I mean, I like the burgundy revolution we've talked about recently. And I like the burgundy part. I'm not big lover of these black uniforms they have. That's the Steelers. So we'll see. New owner can do new things. Can do anything he wants. If they get a dome, Paul, right? A Super Bowl in DC, I think would be possible. A cold weather site they did in New York. Of course, that's New York, and the NFL offices are in New York, and they kiss New York's butt. But I can see it here. This is the nation's capital. I think the draft should come here at some point too. Let's see. You think this makes a destination team and a new owner stadium? Asked Brendan. I think it definitely ups them up a bit. Look at the Wizards. They can never seem to get anybody. Good. It's not. Why not? It's a good place to live. On this, I'm a native, 6th generation, but still, I think it's fair enough to say it's a good town. Beats a lot of other places. Between the Uprights, sound like the black, just like me. Left hand up. Oh, wait. The Commanders. Uh, yeah, I saw it. I knew the video. I know what it is. Let's see. Do I think the Commanders will ever think about moving to Richmond? Asked the Baylord. No, I don't see that happening. Too small a market. This is the seventh biggest TV market. Don't think that's not lost on the NFL. They make a lot of money off TV. That's a big deal. Certified Yams want the new owner to undo everything Ron did, from the military pandering to the awful uniform. Nothing wrong with military pandering. I respect the guys in uniform. You know, when I covered college kids, and they would always defend the kids, players, when they did something wrong. He goes, only 18. Listen, we got 18-year-olds manning the wall with guns to protect this country. If they can do that, this basketball player cannot do stupid things. 18's old enough. You can vote, should be able to drink, but that's a different discussion. Sean asked, do I think Ryan Kerrigan is making an impact this year? It's hard for me to say exactly, but I think so. I think he's helping Montez a bit on this. I would say it's probably been a positive experience. David says DC's great, capital free world. Damn right. I like being a Washingtonian. Yam said his whole family's military. There you go. But you don't like the commander's name. I would have liked the Sentinels, like the Sentinels who protect the unknown soldier tomb at Arlington National. But as my buddy Matt says, Commander sounds like a XFL name, not an NFL name. So maybe Bezos can pry away the Wolves name. Everybody get free shipping. But Bezos uses leverage in Alexandria or Arlington for a new stadium there. Problem is, where are you going to put it? I drive through that area. It's amazing how much has changed in the last 5 years. So it's hard to find a place to put it there. But, you need 60 acres, for something like that. That's kind of, even on a, commuter line. And there's some talk about Amazon owns about 60 acres, I think, near the new Silver Line, which just opened or is opening, something like that. So I think that's a possibility. But at least it's on this metro, I don't mind Sterling. It's on metro, not Woodbridge or that was all nonsense. Rename the team the Hogs and have Jacoby as the mascot, says Sean. Cool. Mike from Southwest, Oxon Hill Farm site would be the best place for a new stadium. Man, we talked about that for years. It's not the worst thing. It's called Oxon Cove, but the feds own it, again, with the federal land. So, but maybe it's near the Wilson Bridge, for those of you who don't know. It's across the highway from MGM. XFL had a better name. DC Defenders. Sounds cool, says Certified. Yeah, people love the Defenders. I went to a game right before it all finished. It was fun. It's not football like the NFL football, but it's still fun. That's all that matters. Kevin doesn't want another name change unless they go to Red Wolves. See, you don't mind another name change if it's the one you like. Woodbridge is the hometown. Rufio, I have nothing against Woodbridge. I just don't think it's the place for the stadium. Great question about Turner's play calling. Okay. I'm not sure I saw the question. Would Chase Young be in sync for the rest of the D-line or play solo like he did before the injury, asked David. I don't think he's playing this week, so it's another one. I think he'll be, he's a team player. He's a good guy, and I think he'll have an impact because he's a good player. Hopefully last season taught him something. Jay-Z is more New York than Washington, says Paul. Well, you follow the money, Hey, most people aren't from D.C., so they become part of D.C. Obey the Lord loved the Richmond training camp. Yeah, I thought it was fun. The irony is I can get there in Richmond faster than I can get across Washington to Ashburn. So now I live 20 minutes farther. So whatever. I submitted Washington allegiance when the team was taking ideas. Allegiance to the flag, says Scott. Okay, that's some merit there. Mike went to Washington football team back. I hate that thing. Just as a writer, it was really hard to work with because you couldn't use football team like you can use Commanders or Wolves. So, Rufio liked the Red Wolves. Everybody did, but that's the way it goes. I oppose red anything. The color is burgundy, not red, says Michael. True. Burgundy seems to be is a shade of red. Rufio's right about that. I don't know. I like the traditional burgundy, and I bought a new TV, and it doesn't look like the same burgundy I remember. Um, oh, got a shade. Ooh, Michael hit a joke there. Ooh, Michael's got jokes. All right, funny enough. Yeah, why not? What time is it? Okay. Even Rufio laughed. So there you go. All right, new people have cycled through. So hey, hit the thanks button if you can. I'm trying to shoehorn in a show here, so I can always take the money and buy new light bulbs for lamps or something. I don't know what's going on here. Um, and hopefully my new studio will be ready for the next show, which I plan to do next Monday night again, back on Mondays. I just took this one off because I moved Tuesday morning, and I was going to be hide from everybody for a week until until the news happened. So thanks for that. Do I think Diami Brown? Did I say that right? Because I always go Diami and people get on me. It's Diami. Will make an appearance again. Well, the dude showed up the day they needed him, but other than that, the depth is holding them down. I thought maybe they could have traded him to a team needed a receiver badly, but I don't know. Washington Platoon would be a great name, says the foot model. Yeah. Sorry. David, will the Vikings be a contender, or is Kirk turned around a corner? I don't see the Vikings really being the NFC champion this year. I think it's Philly. But, they're hanging in there okay. But I always say with Kirk's stats are like sprinkles. They look nice, but there's no substance to them. I don't know. I mean, he throws for all the numbers. And this year they're starting to win, so I can't say that about him anymore. But I don't know. Is he Brady? Oh, who's Brady? But, is he Rodgers? Is he one of those guys? No. He hasn't been, but maybe he's getting to that point in his career where he can. Where are we with linebacker on Sunday? Asked John. Football question. I don't think Cole is going to be playing. He hasn't been practicing. So I don't see it. They're going to have to do what they did last time and play a bunch of different guys. But hey, Jamin Davis stepped up. He got to play every snap, and he played his best game. Made that one play, that was awesome. Can I see Kirk ever coming back? Asked Honest Brute. No, I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't usually say ever too often. Sean, why was I in favor of not aggressively going after Kirk when he left? I knew Kirk, so I knew he didn't want to stay. And if your heart's not here, then best of luck elsewhere. If you're not going to, don't take the money and hate. I always tell people, don't take a job you hate just because of money. Whether you're working in a restaurant or playing in the NFL. Never take a job over money unless you're desperate for money, because it just drains your soul like that. Take it from a guy who's been very lucky to have a career that he always wanted to have. So I appreciate that I got to be a reporter all my life and columnist. So that's not many people get to do what I did. So I was lucky enough to do something I loved on there. That's why I play for tips now here. So hit the thanks jar there for me. I appreciate it. The foot model. Let's see. Kirk was bummed and wanted to stay in Washington. Don't think so. Not really. And I knew Kirk a lot. Matter of fact, if you read my book, 100 Things Command Interest, there's a chapter about throwing a perfect pass, and I interviewed Kirk for that chapter because he was the backup at the time, and he talked a lot about how to throw one perfect pass. That's a chapter in the book, So, all right, John. I haven't seen much of Logan Thomas because he's been hurt. Bates is banged up too. It's kind of a shame for Logan, man. He's really, we're halfway through the season now. It's like, look at Jahan Dotson. He's probably not playing this week again. That'll be 5 weeks if I count right. Yeah, 5 weeks. It's hard to believe. Give O'Connell props on the one that got away. Yeah, I liked O'Connell as Scott. When he was an assistant, he replaced Sean McVay here coordinating. And I thought, my God, this is Sean McVay too. It's the same guy. He's just a little older. But he reminded me so much of McVay. And I'm not surprised he's having success. Good guy. Outlaw King, why does this always have so many injuries every year? I mean, they do, and it's weird. More so than I think the average, but I'd have to look that up. Frank, if I was forced to eat a pizza from one of the major chains, which one would you pick? I was eating Little Caesars a bit because they're cheaper. Um, but if I have my druthers, I like Pizza Hut the best of the four you showed on there. But I wish I could eat more independent chain, not independent chain. That's an oxymoron. Um, I like privately owned pizzerias better. They can do things differently. I will say when I was in Italy, I was quite disappointed with the pizza. But pizza in Italy varies. Food in general, whichever region of Italy you're in. But even when I was in, wasn't particularly good. I was quite disappointed. Let's see. David says Gruden says Kirk wanted to leave and never felt like the true number one after RG3. Well, he shouldn't feel like that because he was drafted far after RG3 and he got an opportunity because Robert got hurt. So there's a lot of weird feelings about it. I mean, I could do a whole show about what went on with all that. I was around. It worked out for everybody, I guess, the way it did. Let's see. Opinion on Scott Turner's play calling. I think it's not flexible enough. And I think he tries to force players into a system a little bit too much. And they have to loosen up a little bit. But I don't think that he's a bad play caller. But I think he can get better. And he will get better with experience. Thank you, Sean, for your congrats. Let's see. Shakey's needs to come back. Yeah, Mike, Shakey's was good. I remember that. Top 5 Charles County eateries. Yeah, I'm still in Charles County. I moved to the bottom of it, and I'm like half a mile from St. Mary's County. Silver Skewers, if you're in Waldorf, is an awesome place. Persian food. The owner is a relative of Shar Pradanish, if you remember him. They're cousins. She has an excellent place in Waldorf. That's one of my favorites to eat in. I can't even think of other 4 places right now. Oh, Texas Ribs and La Plata. Not Texas Roadhouse, Texas Ribs. That's a really good place too, just below La Plata. All right, what if after all the excitement, Snider finds a minority owner? Does this force a fan revolt? Yes, the Burgundy Revolution will torch that place. This is it, man. You can't tease people like this. It's got to be done. So enjoy your money and go. Any word on Dotson's health? Well, David, the problem is he came back and then he re-injured it in practice, so the clock resets. So it might be a couple more weeks on something like this. Hamstrings are a weird injury, and some people just have trouble with them. We'll see what happens. It could dog him all year, which would be a real shame. He was started off very well. So got great hands, smart player, runs good routes. So it'll get there. Look at Curtis Samuel. Everybody wanted to throw him in the trash after last season's problems. And here he is, one of their big playmakers now. Guy can run the ball straight out of the backfield like he did the other day if he had to. I think he's been really, really worth what they were hoping for. Rufio said he tore his hamstring. It's been over a year and can still feel it. Ooh. Well, that's why I don't run. See, it's dangerous. But I've never did any of that. I ran when I was younger. I used to run in 10Ks and took a shot at a marathon once. I know that's crazy talk, but it was also 35 years ago. So I have the running bibs to prove it that I did this. Let's see. Obey the Lord. Curtis Samuel. Curtis Butterfingers. Not that bad. You guys are mean some days. I don't know. I like NFL players. I like that they work hard. They're very goal oriented on that kind of thing. Most of them, 98% of NFL players are good guys. There's always a jerk, but that's probably a higher percentage than working in your office. So I ride to the gates of hell with these guys. They can go in themselves. I'm not going into hell, but I'm with them till then. Paul, when are Matt and I going to do our show? We just did it before this, so it should be up right after this show, I think, as soon as Matt's done posting it online. That's on YouTube. We do 15 minutes, so you can hear a lot more about it. Matt was fired up. Great Watubi, there you are. Thank you, Great Watubi. Throw in the tip jar. He knows how to say thanks. Celebrate no more Snider. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, and it's a train coming at us. But yeah, it's a happy day. Like I said, I was thinking of retiring. I'm just tired of all this. And now it's kind of exciting to see what this franchise could do, if you don't have, all this nonsense that goes on around it. Honest fruit. Redskins, you think most deserves Hall of Fame? I'd say Brian Mitchell, but barely over Gary Clark, who's barely over Joe Jacoby. And that's not knocking Jacoby. I think he definitely deserves it. But Brian definitely deserves it. And Gary Clark, it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They should add his catches from the USFL too. He played a couple years to be almost like 700, 800 catches. I think it's wrong. I think Gary deserves it. Brian says Dan's team record was 149, 202, and 1. Okay. Offhand, I don't know, but I'll trust you on that. Crowd this Sunday. Do you think with all the sell news that fans are more jacked and excited? Yeah, and I think they're going to be yelling. They're going to be chanting "Sell the team" the whole game. I expect that the whole time. They're winning off the field, Brian. No, says Scott. So, commander on commander crime or whatever we call that. Be nice. Or you like that? Yeah. Can you imagine if Kirk wins and he starts yelling at the crowd? You like that? They'll start throwing stuff at him. Never be on the field of a home team that loses because stuff comes flying down at you. I used to be down there. He used to throw oranges at me in Cleveland. John Kime. He was in the dog pound throwing oranges down. I was covering the drive game down there, dodging oranges. So John was throwing them at me before we even knew each other. Who has the highest chance of Hall of Fame on the roster other than Terry? John Allen, maybe. Man, things like this take me forever. We're going fast here. Are fans going to chant "Sell the team"? Absolutely, Paul. The question will they stop chanting it? Any chance Danny still drops the bomb on the other owners? Probably not. It's probably part of the deal. If you go away quietly, it doesn't get as crazy on there. David, that's a true story about Kime. He's one of my best friends. But I was down there walking the AFC Championship. Denver goes from the 20. Next thing we know, we're down the other end zone where the dog pound was. They're throwing whole oranges from the Orange Crush days. And and trying to dodge those, and we saw the drive. Nobody was calling it at that moment, but I was lucky enough to see that. And the next year, when Ernest Miner fumbled and Cleveland lost again in the AFC Championship. DC Ulster's coming from the Carolinas. Okay, pick up my family, will you? I got a lot of family in Carolinas. Scott, let's see. Last question: if someone told you in '91 that this was going to be happening in '22, my reaction, and you told me what happened, I'd be covering something else, and I'd gotten out of Dodge when I could have, probably. But I always say, covering the Redskins, Commanders, whatever, is a very challenging job for all those beat writers that are still doing it. I'm just a columnist now. I got it easy. But as a beat writer, which I was for many years, and these guys today, think about it, man. It's a 24-hour news cycle. There's always stuff going on. It's a hard job, harder than covering any other team in town. So those poor guys, really work hard, and people give you grief at times, but you have no idea. It's an 80-hour-a-week job with a lot of pressure versus covering, a lot of other stuff, which I've covered all the other stuff. So I know the difference. But I also feel blessed that I got to do this in my hometown and got to see all that I've seen. Not many people get to. I'm now the longest running sports writer in DC. Like I said, I was thinking about retiring, but I'm not going to now. So I want to see how this works. And hopefully my health is good. If we get new owners to clean house, Outlaw King, see how this team finishes. Suppose they finish 12-5 or something, maybe not. Let's see. If it's a losing year, I would expect some change. If they can do it, Dan Snider wanted to change coaches with Norv, but it was June before he could do it. And he couldn't get any other coach, so he had to ride with Norv that year on there. Great Watubi, there you go. Appreciate that again. What's the chance of a name change? 50-50. I don't know. I don't know. That's really interesting. I know the NFL would go, oh my God, not another one, but Bezos, if he gets to be the owner, Bezos will get what he wants. So call him the Primes and Dion can come coach. I've watched Dion some lately. I liked covering Deion Sanders when he was in Washington just 1 year. It was a lot of fun. He was an interesting guy. I'm happy to see the success he's having coaching college. But he could come back here as Coach Prime of the Washington Amazons or whatever. If I ever flown in Redskin One, what's it called now? I don't know what it's called now, but when Dan Snider got the team, we were in Atlanta. That's where the owners approved it back in '99. And Dan said, "Come on, I'll give you a ride back to DC." But I had writing to do and all, and I had I had my ticket for an airline in a few hours, and he was trying to get me to come on, and I just said, I just can't do it. So I blew my one chance. But I did ride with the team to Osaka. We were on I think I want to say 7077, and players, coaches, cheerleaders, stuff like that. It was, but those things are so huge. I think, but I did get to ride with the team and hang out. It was like a 17-hour flight each way. So I got to see a little bit. Spurrier was coaching then. Spurrier comes back at one point 'cause it's kind of loud in the back of the plane. And it was like somebody woke dad up or grandpa and he'd give them all a big stare and told them to be quiet. It was kind of funny. Okay, so James is from Raleigh. Okay, sorry, my family's from Gastonia. Oh, thank God you're not a Duke fan. Okay, Wake's cool. Great White Tubi, thank you again. Great White Tubi, you're a very generous man. Everybody should take an example from Great White Tubi. Would Chase play versus the Vikings? I don't think so. I think it's going to be another week. David, the Washington Amazons could be the name for our women's team. Well, wait a minute. Which women's team are we talking about? All right. Doesn't the clock go back Sunday morning? I think that's next week, right? Or is it this week? I don't know. Dude, I've been living, I don't even know what day it is lately. I don't know. Guys, are we changing the clock this Saturday? Let me know. That would be very helpful to know that. James, thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it. Joseph, you going to bed already? Come on, man. You can't do that. Oh, I know. There's probably a football game on, right? The Prime. You want to see that? I've got to cook up my TVs. I haven't even done that yet. Favorite food to eat on Thanksgiving? Pumpkin pie. That's all good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we are changing the time this Saturday night. Okay. I was thinking it was next week. Okay. Well, good. I get an extra hour of sleep. I could use it. Kevin, thank you very much for hitting the tip jar. Curl and Forest. I like the Dark Forest. I want him to be called the Dark Forest instead of Derek Forest because bad things happen when you venture near the Dark Forest. He's played very well, and Curl has played very well. That's really helped them out a lot. So much. Let's see. James moving to Wilmington, North Carolina. I've been there. It's kind of a quiet place, if I remember. Eagles versus Texans. Great White Tubi asked. Eagles. Certified. Would it be a conflict of interest if Bezos buys the team with the Amazon deal? Well, I don't think he can quite do that, but so I don't think so. I don't know, but that's been brought up today a lot. Honest Brute, do I have a ride mower? Yeah, but I'm gonna give me a zero turn. Hopefully, if enough tips money show up in the next few months, come spring, I've got 3 acres to cut. Not many trees, which I like a lot. Big open sky, but I'll need a mower bigger than my little John Deere. World Series game tied at 1. There you go. I missed I haven't been able to watch. I saw they had a no hitter. It's kind of hard to sit there and watch Philly versus Houston. I hate both teams. Everybody hates Houston because they're a bunch of cheaters. And you hate Philly because that's the Nats' biggest rival. But I do like watching Bryce hit, So I guess if I had my druthers, I'd rather see Philly win. 14-7 Eagles in the second. All right. James wanted Must to buy the team. No. Then he'd make you have to pay to watch video clips of the team or something. I don't know. I don't know if I'm hanging in with Twitter. We'll see what goes on with all the craziness. I may just go exclusively with YouTube or go to Instagram or something. Between the uprights, over the last 15 years or so, what player or coach have you interviewed or spoken with? If I just had a favorite one, man, I don't know. That's a good question. There's a lot of guys I like. Dan Turk, but that's more than 15 years ago. Dan Turk was fun. He was crazy, but he was fun. Oh, Great White Tubi kicked in mower fun. Thank you, Great White Tubi. I'll name my mower after you. I'll call it the Great White Tubi mower. DC Hustler, look forward to the walk from Metro Station. Oh, from where it is now, it's a mile right now. It's not the worst walk. It's a paved sidewalk. It's safe. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just you got to walk a mile. But hey, We can all use a little extra steps. Okay, so Mike Jones says, yeah, there's a lot of sports going on. Now, good punter. I'm talking about Dan, Sean. Dan was the snapper. Matt was the punter, his brother. Do I have a big yard? Yeah, 3.2 acres. So my grandson said we could put a whole ball field back there. Hey, we'll see. Let's see. If they build it, will he come? I don't know. Dan's brother's name was Matt. So Dan was the older brother. He was the deep snapper. Matt was the punter. And they were just so much fun together. They were nuts. But one time, they were parking in the garage at the big train station here in town, Union Station. And they had an oversized truck, and it got wedged in the parking garage. And they had to catch the train the team was taking to Philadelphia. So their third brother came and deflated the tires and got it out of the jam of the parking garage. They did crazy stuff like that. We're changing the interchange play on the field, David. I'd say it's worth trying because it didn't work in the other way. Let's see, James. Gibbs is the greatest coach ever. I agree. I mean, three quarterbacks, 3 titles. I mean, you can talk about Brady and Belichick all you want, but 3, that's a different animal that Gibbs did. I heard the last 2 times the Phillies won the World Series, there was a recession. That ain't good. Great Watch-TV. So I guess we should try and hope for better things. Let's see. James, a little over 3 acres. I like it. It goes a ways. I'll put it on camera eventually. As soon as I get things straightened out. I got a huge back porch, 14 feet wide. Goes all the way around. I tell you, man, I got lucky and came away with a real winner of a house. And my wife has a good job, so it really helped. A lot of things came together. You work for 50 years, you get a little something at the end here. Oh, Daniel's here. Okay, hey, Daniel, I hope you're feeling better. And Daniel's trying to get over some things, so I'm glad to see you're doing well. And if any of you know Daniel, say hi to him. He could always use a company trying to rehab some. Let's see. I hope I get to interview the new owner of the Commanders. Paul said, yeah, I'm sure I will at some point. I like to cook a lot. He was a lot of fun. Let's see. Well, thank you, David. I appreciate your stuff there. Let's see. Oh, you got a half acre. That's what I had too, James. I had a half acre all these years. And before I sell my house, I have to rake all the stupid leaves. I was messing with that today too, because I have a lot of trees on that half acre, and I can't sell the house with leaves everywhere. Bummer. I was hoping to be done before then. Ooh, honest Brute, thank you. Putting hit the thanks jar. Push mower plus 3 acres equals sucks. Yeah, that would take like 8 hours. I grew up with a push mower. Great One TV has a 2 acre one. Oh, he pays somebody to mow. Well, rich guy on there. I can't afford that. I don't know. What would it cost you? What's it cost you to have a guy cut that? I'm afraid to ask the guy who does it around here. He probably wants a couple $100 to cut grass. Not doing $100 for 2 acres. Still, it's a lot of money. But that's your choice. I don't have as much to do, so I can take the time. Don't rake the leaves, just mow over them. Well, yeah, between uprights. I try and do that a lot, but it doesn't quite do it all. I wish it would. Rear wheel drive is good enough. Yeah, I have that on there. Dan's going to do it for me. No, I couldn't ask you to do that. I don't mind cutting grass, too, especially a rod mower. You just sit there and drink your beer and make left turns. I mean, it's not hard. And, it's 100 degrees. Well, you're still just riding a tractor. It's not like you're walking it. That's a different animal. I used to do that as a kid. And I had a big yard as a kid. I had to cut grass all the time. And being the youngest, when I, left home, my dad bought a rod mower, which was very rare in 1980. And I said, Dad, where'd you get the money for this? He goes, I don't feed you anymore. All right, fair enough. You had a leaf blower. I'd never seen one of those either. I was a little bitter over that. My father died a few years after that, so he was a good man. Great White TV. My parents made me mow and paint as a teen. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that because you learn honest work. There's nothing wrong with hard work. I do it all the time. What tunes am I listening to on the mower? Nothing. I like the quiet. kind of thing of it, not just zoning out and cutting grass. Certified. You paid guy $85 for half acre. Where you live, man? I might come by. Come by and make. I gotta make side money somehow. Sports writing hasn't paid quite as well as we would have liked. Made my money early. It's not to talk too much about it, but put your money in your 401ks. They say when you're 60, and you think, oh my God, that's forever from now. But the money turns, and we had a great stock market for a lot of years, and right now it sucks, but it'll get better again. And now's a great time to invest in the market because you're buying the shares at a cheaper price. And when things go up again, you're going to make that money. So keep investing in there. And I-bills, the Treasury sells I-bills. They're like savings bonds, and they pay great interest on there because you got to pay for this Build Back Better America thing. So they were paying 9.7% interest, which, the bank pays like 0.2 or something. 9.7. They readjusted it the other day. For the next 6 months, it pays, I think, 6.8%. You can put up to 10 grand in it. There was over $100 billion put in the last day before the rate change. Those kind of things. So look around, make your money work for you. And don't spend all your money as you're young. Invest it in this future. Hopefully you get to that age. I'm grateful I got to this age. I just started getting Social Security. And, I've been paying Social Security funds since I was 16 years old. So I'm finally getting some of it back, So nothing wrong with that. But you just, I've got a car that turned 250,000 miles today, my SUV. So everybody spends their money different ways. I don't buy jerseys and all this gear and pay all that money and $14 beers and stuff like that. So we all do what we want with our money. Oh, great one too. You're 55 years old, man. You're getting old. Yeah. All I can say to you, young bucks, some of you listening out there, you can do anything you want till you hit your 30s. And even then, 40s, you start to slow. 50s is when you get your sins of your youth visited upon you. In the 60s, I was very lucky that scare I had earlier this year wasn't a stroke. Turned out to be a nerve problem with a disc in my back, which luckily from the move has not bothered me. I guess I'm okay. So, you just have to work on it. Ooh, John showed up. Thank you, John, for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate the mower fund. Maybe that's my new thing. Go fund my mower. They cost a penny, but I don't like cutting grass, but I don't mind cutting grass. Oh, Daniel's going to be 38. Man, I tell you what, I miss my youth. Don't get old. It sucks. I don't know what else we could do, but, Okay, I'm 41, man. I hate to tell you this. I had a massive heart attack at 42. I was at Redskin Park. And Bubba Tyler, the trainer, saved my life because I was like, Bubba, what's wrong with me? And he's like, you're having a heart attack. And I go, nah, Bubba, I'm not having a heart attack. Yes, I was. I had the massive heart attack, the widow killer that kills 19 of 20 men. I was the one who survived, thanks to Bubba, because they're also paramedics that cover the team. So they saved my life. Had to have open heart, all that jazz, but I'm doing fine. And like I said, I've done 100,000 steps in the last 5 days, so I must be doing okay. Paul said, I think Dexter or Gibbs would be fun to interview. Gibbs was very matter of fact. He was a nice man, and I appreciated my time with him. I had more fun with some other people. Dexter was not a lot of fun to interview. Didn't really want to talk to us so much. But once in a while he would, and he'd say some crazy stuff. One time Dexter goes in the locker room, he's talking about he's learning Japanese, and he says a bunch of stuff. Well, none of them fought in World War II and fought the Japanese in the islands and knew Japanese. So when Dexter starts that stuff, Jack hits him with a bunch of Japanese, and that was the end of Dexter learning Japanese. And like 2 weeks later, we found out Dexter didn't even know how to read English, that he had never learned to read because he'll break your hand just for fun. He could still do it. Between the uprights, said, I know George Michael. Yes, I liked George. He was fun. Like I said, he was full of beans. But he would sometimes he'd come up on the sideline and yell at me, how did you beat me on this story? Because I live here on the sideline. You do other things. I live here. I should do it. You can't beat me on this. And we had a lot of fun. I covered his funeral and went to it at National Cathedral when he passed away. Good. He was a good guy. A little hard to work for, I'm sure, what I heard, but he pushed people to be excellent, and a lot of his people went on to do great things. Between the uprights, yeah, the Dexter story. I could tell you a million Dexter stories on here. Maybe we will someday. We would do just a Dexter show, and that's why I didn't like Ryan Kerrigan being said that he broke Dexter's sack record, because Dexter's first year he had 6 sacks, and they didn't count him in the NFL that year. But we know he had 6 sacks, but they don't count him. So Kerrigan got ahead of him because of that. So I think that's kind of a weird thing. Daniel says, looks like Bezos is closer and closer to being the next owner. Well, he's the clubhouse leader, but you never know. You just never know when things are going. Are pigs flying? Is Dan going to sell? Asked the Dubs family. Yeah, I think Porky Pig just took a leap out the window because I think this is going to happen. You know, I was thinking in recent weeks maybe, but I still, until we saw this, I wasn't sure. Were there any sports writers that I disliked? Sure. We were competing against each other. The media today is more like survivors of the Titanic. They all kind of get along much better than we used to. Not that they're not competitive. They want to beat each other, but they get along much better today than we did. It was basically you were on another team, and my job was to beat you every day, and nothing personal. And your job was to beat me, and we'll just see what happens. Well, I'll just say I won more than I lost. But we didn't hang out a whole lot. If a guy was a direct competitor of yours on there, but some of them are also some of my best friends all these years, like John and Deuce and Dave and all the others. My battery's going dead on me, guys. And I've been on about an hour. So last call for hitting the thanks button and helping my mower get started. So far, I've raised enough for 2 gallons of gas, so I appreciate that. That's probably what it'll take to cut the 3 acres. James wishes Cook family still on the team. I don't know if they would have had the money to do things that they needed to do. Not that they would have screwed it up like Snider has, but I'm not sure how that would have worked. John Cook owns a winery. He got 10% of the sales as inheritance, so he's happy. The news was harder to come by back then. Yeah, they really paid attention a lot different than today's world. A lot different today. I got nothing for writers, but to this day, I despise Colin Cowherd. Don't know him personally, certified. But I mean, there's guys I didn't like personally. I thought they were jerks. And I'm sure there's some of the writers you could talk to that didn't like me. It's okay. Not everybody has to like me. You know? It's all right. Newspaper men are kind of rough people. You know, I go to some places where people are naturally friendly, and my newspaper instinct is like, what the blank do you want? You know, I was going to say hi. Oh, all right. Well, F off. I mean, I sometimes have to pull it back. Somebody spotted me in a restaurant the other night, tweeted, hey, I thought we should have come by. Could have picked up the tab for me. That would have been great. If you see me, say hi. I'm better about it today than I used to be. I'll say that. All right. Between Upright says he's got to say good night. Thanks for the show. And so I'm going to do that too, because I'm about ready to die on battery. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate it so much. This is on replay. If you're watching it and came in late, you can see the show start over in a couple minutes on YouTube. I'm still making the daily morning and evening videos. We're staying busy as always. And I'll be around. And Monday night, come on back and we'll do it again. Prime rib steak. There you go. I wish we could do that. Thank you, Daniel, for coming. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. Patrick, thank you for coming too. Oh, guys, I appreciate everybody doing this because you don't have to, and especially with no notice. That's awesome that we had so many people tonight. So thank you again for all that. I got to get out of here before this thing goes black to there. And I'll see you guys on Monday and see my videos in the morning. And thank you, everybody certified. Oh, yeah. There you go. Now we're done. I found my bell. I had all my stuff. So if I could just find a few other things, that would be better. But there's the bell for you, DC Hustler. And all right, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.